Shavua Tov, everyone. I'm going to continue the series of the great phenomenal Sephardi Rabbanim, and it's going to be the Hilula. It's the Hilula tonight of the former Chief Rabbi of Turkey. He was actually 40 years the Chief Rabbi, Rabbi David Asseo. He was actually the second longest running Chief Rabbi in the whole of Europe, only behind the a Romanian Chief Rabbi, a great Rabbi of the name, Rabbi Moses Rosen, who was actually from Romania. So it's very interesting. He was actually born back in the year 1914 and passed away in 2002, back in July 14th, the English calendar date, in the year 2002. And his deputy afterwards of Yitzhak Leve'ah, he actually then became the new Chief Rabbi of Turkey in the year 2002 after he had passed away. So a lot of things can be said about this great rabbi. I said before, he was born in the year 1942, naturally from a Sephardic family. They actually was reported over, they actually moved to Turkey after the Spanish Inquisition. We're talking about probably about 400 or 500 years before that. He learned in the Talmud Torah called the Tiferet Israel as a child, and that was actually a school that was belonging to the Kol Israel Friends Society in the district of the city of Haskoy over there. And then he studied with the Chacham Yitzhak Ariel, who was actually had a very prominent position inside the area later on. And in the year 1928, so he was in his teenage years, he was sent from the B'nai Brit office in Istanbul. He actually started learning in a rabbinical seminary in Rhodes, which is based naturally in the country Greece, in Europe. He studied there for around 5 years, and in 1933 he finished his studies and he was qualified actually to teach in that specific area. As well, he served as a teacher of Hebrew and also of Judaism over there naturally. After his studies, he then came and moved back to Istanbul and started working in different institutions over there, serving naturally in the Jewish high school over there as a Hebrew teacher, and obviously teaching many different Torah also over there in that different stage in time. It's actually interesting that he actually even took part in military service. He had to maybe do a couple of years also in Turkey, possibly part-time. We could look into that. He finished that in the year 1936. And he began after that to serve as a member of the local rabbinic court over there, as a secretary of the court, and was the secretary of the stage of Turkey also to Chacham Raphael Esaban, who was also a very, very prominent rabbi inside the country of Turkey. What's interesting was in 1950 he was appointed to serve as a chief rabbi of the Jewish Italian community in Istanbul, which was known as a very, very prominent position. And 5 years later on, he was appointed to serve as the director of the Beit Midrash for rabbis in Istanbul in Turkey, which is obviously a very prominent position where you're nurturing many of the great rabbis. And over that stage in time, there was a great amount of Torah scholarship in Turkey. In fact, in the year 1960, after Chacham Raphael Saban had passed away, Rabbi Asseo, he was actually chosen in the exact English calendar date of December 9th, 1961, to serve as Chief Rabbi of Turkey, the most prominent position over there. And they say many of the prominent figures all throughout Turkey actually came for his coronation induction as a Chief Rabbi, which took place in the Neve Shalom Beit Knesset. He was very, very well traveled while he was the Chief Rabbi of Turkey. To just give you examples, only 4 years into his tenure, he was already going to London and different conferences over there, was greeted by the most by the Knesset members over there, and visited presidents. For example, Zalman Shazer, who was a country's president of a specific area at one point in time. In July 1966, they actually say that Rabbi Yitzhak Nisim visited Turkey, obviously a prominent rabbi, and he was a guest of Rabbi Asseo, and associated. He had meetings. He was very, very diverse, very much obviously in his position in Turkey. He had to have a lot of great interfaith relations. They say in the late 1970s and 1979, he met the Pope at one stage in time, but he was obviously in Turkey there was a lot of anti-Semitism, unfortunately, and they say it was reported over in September 1980 a bomb was thrown inside the rabbinic building actually where the rabbi's office was located, and they said, according the excuse was that due to Israeli government made some institutions in regards to Jerusalem, that is why there was. But that was not fatal, that terrorist attack. However, later on in the year 1986, while he was acting and serving as the rabbi of the great synagogue of Neve Shalom, which I mentioned a few minutes ago, an attack actually took place in that synagogue in Istanbul. Unfortunately, 22 Jews were murdered at the time, and they said afterwards Rabbi Mordechai Eliyahu actually came to Turkey, also the former Chief Rabbi of Israel, and was accompanied by Rabbi Asseo, and they walked to the head of the funeral held, which for the unfortunate murdered people, Hashem Yikam Damon. And he maintained contact, as said before, with his interfaith work was absolutely incredible, with the different Muslim, Catholic, Italian, Greek and American religious figures the whole time while he was in the Turkish government. They actually say, just to retract a couple of years, back in July 1984, he met with the Deputy Secretary of State of the United States, a man with the name Elliot Abrams also, and obviously was discussing the Jewish community relations in that part in time. He served for around nearly 41 years as the leader of the Jewish community in the country of Turkey, until his death actually in 2002. And as I stated before, he was the second longest serving chief rabbi in the whole of Europe. What another phenomenal thing that we should know about him, he mastered 6 different languages, including French, Greek, Italian, Ladino, and also Hebrew. In fact, they say in the last years of his life, Rabbi Yitzchak Haliva was actually appointed to serve as his deputy, because obviously naturally he was going into 70s and 80s at that stage in time, which obviously would have restricted his duties as a chief rabbi. And he passed away back in July 14th, 2002. So naturally he would be at that stage, I believe, 88 years old, if I'm not mistaken, if my mathematics is okay, around that specific age, and was buried in a Spanish Jewish cemetery in Olos, in that specific city. His funeral actually took place from the Neve Shalom, great synagogue in Istanbul. For example, the President of Turkey came, Ahmadinejad, and the Prime Minister at the time was Prime Minister Bülent Ecevit. Also, he left behind two daughters, I believe, and naturally his deputy, Rabbi Yitzchak Haliva, would actually take his place afterwards as a Bashi, as a Chief Rabbi of Turkey. So it's his Hilula, 5th of Av, actually happens to be on the same date as Ari HaKadosh, also, who I did a video on last year. He was naturally part of the Ottoman Empire and everything else. A lot could be said about him. Great roles. May we light candles in his memory, all his zchuyot, be protecting Am Yisrael, and from the elite rabbis of Turkey, one of the great rabbis of Turkey, Rabbi David Asseo Z'tl. Guys, I want to wish you all a Shabbat Tov U'Mevorach, and please look over the previous videos I've done in this very long but concise series of the great Oriental Rabbanim. Shabbat Tov, and take care.